If you are having trouble with your cold approach, if you seem to be just thinking, okay, well, what I need to do now is just increase the amount of approaches per day. That's your only solution. That means that you've run out of ideas. And I'm going to give you an idea of what I think that you should be doing. But before we kick it off, I'm Dave, and this channel is dedicated to giving you no BS, novel, dating advice for the modern man. My book is in the description. That's like my autobiography. And top link in the description to get some coaching with me. I do Skype coaching as well. Got a Facebook group, Telegram, etc. So, you are doing day game. You're hitting the clubs. You're trying your best with cold approach. And the only solution that you can come up with is do more approaches. Okay. Now, that means that you've run out of ideas. And I would argue that that is the worst thing that you could be doing. If you are struggling hardcore and you are thinking, okay, well, the results aren't coming, well, what I need to do is double the amount of approaches, I would argue that you really need to be doing this. And this one thing is, it's really simple, but also very complicated as well. And that's why I'm having trouble starting this video off, is because how am I going to explain this? I would call it more just diversifying your approach. Don't be a one-trick pony. Over the weekend, I had a bootcamp student, and I could hear by the way he's talking, I have pretty good pattern recognition. I was like, you've been watching a lot of Todd V, haven't you? And he goes, yes, how did you know? I said, well, you said this. And I was like, hang on, I haven't watched a lot of Todd V, but there's a pattern to how he speaks. And you've taken on the way he speaks. His speech patterns. And so your strategies are all in this box at the moment. And so what we need to do is unravel that, because this box might not fit you, and that's why you're getting coaching in the first place. If this box, this strategy, this simplistic ideology that you're seeing is not working, the only solution that you might come up with is to increase the amount of approaches with this strategy, and I would argue that that is by far the worst thing that you could be doing. What you need to be doing is going, okay, well, this is the strategy I'm using at the moment. What if I try something else? What if I diversify during the week? Like, just say I do my usual Todd V strategy, and then maybe I take a little bit of someone else, take a little bit of, say, One Man's Life Mission strategy. The ideology that I would probably push on this channel, which a lot of people like to put me into another box over here, which is indirect. And I would argue that that is far from what I teach, actually. What I teach is innovation. What I teach is diversifying everything from the spectrum of direct all the way to indirect, high energy all the way through to low energy, and trying to figure out where you fit and where you get the best results. Now, that's going to take a lot of time. That's going to take a lot of energy. That's going to take a lot of commitment. And if you're working Monday to Friday and on the weekend running a business and studying, and you don't have any more time to fit into game, then, well, there's no real canned lines or structured strategy from a digital product or a 3-day bootcamp that's going to be able to fix you, is it? And just increasing the amount of approaches while using the same strategy, you're not really getting a full picture of what you could be the type of results you could be getting, because you don't really know, do you? And I would argue that diversifying your strategy and trying to figure out where you are, what works for you, because what works for you would not work for me, and what works for us two is not going to work for the other guy. I would argue that a lot of guys, they get stuck in different strategies, and they don't think, okay, well, if this works for my buddy that I met in the forums, well, it must work for me. But your buddies, like, different education level. He has different speaking patterns. He's more charismatic or less charismatic. He's more or less educated. He's from a different socioeconomic status. He's taller or shorter than you. He's from a different part of the world. He's got a different accent. He's got all these things. He's a total... You guys are opposites. What makes you think that the strategy for him is going to work for you? That doesn't make sense, does it, when you really think about it in just logical, obvious terms, right? And there are some things that are common amongst most men, but I'd say that with all the advice out there, it's easy to get confused. And what a lot of guys do is they just pick one thing. They tried one thing once and they miraculously got laid once, and next thing you know, they're stuck here forever. They swear by this ideology because it got them laid once, so stick with it. And then after a while they hit a plateau, and next thing you know, they're just like, okay, plateau, what do? Increase the approaches. And the lesson from this video that I'd like you guys to understand, it's a bit of a convoluted video and I'm kind of gone all over the place, is that you should be open to trying new things. What you think you know might not be accurate, and if you're not getting results, then that's evidence that what you know isn't accurate, right? And if you're in the pickup community and you're stuck in the pickup community and you haven't exited the pickup community, then I would argue that whatever you're doing and the way you're going about it is arguably all wrong. And so therefore I would like you to start to think about it, step back from a third person's point of view and have a close look at yourself. Have a bird's eye view of what you are doing. Have a look down and go, what am I doing when I'm gaming? Am I only a day gamer? Am I only a night gamer? These are simplistic ways of looking at it, but there's far more complicated ways to look at it. But am I only using online? You know, how am I going about my conversation? Am I only approaching girls on the street? Am I only approaching girls in the nightclub? How many girls in the shopping center have I approached in the last 6 months? Things like that. I would argue that you need to start not just location of where you're approaching, also what type of girls are you approaching? Are you approaching the exact same style of girl? Is that your go-to type of girl? Are you the type of guy that only approaches Colombian backpackers that wear these the backpack and they've got the short pants and you know that they're living in the backpackers? Are they the only girls that you approach? Have you approached a doctor lately? Or a girl from the business district that looks like a lawyer? Have you approached these type of girls? Have you tried to converse with these type of girls? Or are you stuck in this one narrow way of looking at it? So there's a lot to take in here, and game is far more complex than I think a lot of people give it credit for. It's far more complicated, and the simplistic idea from this video, I've gone all over the place. I think I've made a mess of this video, but the idea I want to get across is you really do need to be innovating. You really do need to have a look. What am I doing? Is my energy too high? Is it too low? Am I approaching? Am I willing to approach when I'm tired in the morning? Or do I only approach when I'm tired in the morning? Do I do exercise before I go out? And am I amped up? Do I do a lot of silly warm-ups? And then next thing I know, I go into state, and then I go into this delusional, happy, crazy state, and I run around like a chicken with its head cut off, you know? And I've seen all these things happen. What are you doing? What are you doing? Have a close look of it, at what you're doing, and think about it. Take note of what you're doing and try to change it up. And that also keeps it interesting for you, because game is far more complicated than walking over to a girl and saying hi and running some canned lines and running some simplistic strategy. It's far more complicated than that. And ultimately, I want you to win. And the only way you can win is by thinking about what you're doing and diversifying your approach. I'll see you guys in the next video.